One of the atomic reactors at the Chernobyl atomic power plant near the city of Kiev was damaged, and there is speculation in Moscow that people were injured and may have died.
An official announcement from the Council of Ministers. There has been an accident at the Chernobyl atomic power station. One of the atomic reactors was damaged.
At 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, there was an accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Pripyat, Ukraine. The scientists wanted to do a systems test on reactor number 4.
The idea was to disconnect one of the turbines from the reactor and find out if it was possible to use the energy from it as it slowed down to power some pumps which were part of the reactor's emergency cooling system. In their official report, they admit that there were significant violations in the operating rules for the power station on this occasion.
When emergency shutdown was attempted, a much larger power spike occurred, which led to a vessel rupture and
steam explosions occurred, bursting open the zirconium tubes. The flimsy structure around the graphite core couldn't contain the buildup in pressure, and the reactor literally blew its top. But the energy created was enough to throw a 1,000-ton concrete slab above the reactor to one side.
This caused a fire of highly radioactive fallout to spread into the atmosphere over Pripyat. The first on the scene were the Chernobyl Power Station Firefighting Brigade, who weren't told how dangerous the area was. They were able to put out the fire on the roof by 5 a.m. However, the fire inside the reactor actually burned for 14 more days. It was eventually put out by helicopter pilots who made multiple trips every day, dropping sand, lead, clay, and boric acid on top of the reactor to negate radiation spilling out. While the fire was burning inside the reactor for the next 2 weeks, officials feared a second explosion would occur, creating a much bigger explosion 320 kilometers wide, killing thousands more and spreading radiation much farther. Over the next few days, winds spread radiation across Europe and Russia. They began to wonder if a nuclear power plant had blown up somewhere, and Ukraine tried to keep it quiet at first. This is what the Soviet Union showed on their TV stations.
Само здание станции. Как видите, огромных разрушений, о которых не умолкая твердят средства массовой информации Запада, нет. Поврежден только блок. Все производственные постройки, соседние здания, опоры электропередач целы.
The nearby city of Pripyat was not evacuated immediately. The people continued out their usual business while dozens of people in the city became ill when they started having a metallic taste in their mouth and vomiting profusely. Over 24 hours after the initial explosion, on the 27th of April 1986, officials decided to evacuate the city to the nearby city of Kiev. They told everyone it would only be for 3 days while they contained the power plant, and because of this, people were told to only bring the necessities with them, only to later find out that they're never allowed to go back. Over the next 7 months, workers cleaned up the area around the nuclear power plant and the 30-kilometer exclusion zone. They did this by removing debris and burying it, while also spraying down every building with special chemicals that would suppress radiation to the ground, and then bulldozing the top foot of dirt. While cleaning up, they also built a lead sarcophagus over the power plant to stop the radiation for good, and it was said that it would only hold for 30 years.
How's it going?
Andrew.
Andrew, Cody, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So right now we're close to one of the Chernobyl checkpoints. As you get closer, you're not allowed to film the guards or the buildings there, but we're able to film right up until just about now, where we're about to go pass through, and I have to give a bunch of my passports and documents, and we have to show them exactly what we're doing because we have an itinerary. Chernobyl zone. So guys, that was the history of Chernobyl. We're gonna be exploring it now for the next 2 days. It's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited to check out this place. We are doing a tour here. I'm doing a private tour with Solo East Tours. I'll have their little link down below, so if you want to do another tour with them, you can. That's where the nuclear reactor is. And this is a zone all around it. This line right here, I believe, is the border between Ukraine and Belarus. You can see it's just on the Ukraine side, very close. We are going to be touring all throughout the Ukraine side because that's what we are allowed to do. I don't have a visa for Belarus. Alright you guys, just entering the Chernobyl exclusion zone, we have come to this first village which is called Zalicia. And as of last year, in December of 2015, it has become completely abandoned. The last babushka, which is the old granny who lived here, she passed away. So this village of 3,000 people is now no longer has anyone here, and it's just a completely abandoned village in the woods. We are here walking around, and up here there's a World War II memorial. So there are many memorials around the Chernobyl zone, which were built here before Chernobyl. These stones here have lists of names of people from the village who died during World War II. Many people, as you can see, there's a lot of stones with lists of names. I'm joined here by Igor, my tour guide. He's from Solo East. He's giving me a tour for the next 2 days, and he is full of information about this whole place. So I'm excited. I did a lot of research, but he has a lot more information than I do. So we're walking through the village now, and you can see, because it's fall time here, you can actually see through all the trees, and you can see the houses in the woods. They're all completely abandoned. Many of them collapsed in by just the weather, wear and tear over the past 30 years. That one, you can see the ceiling has collapsed. Is there any, how's it looking on the scale? Not bad at all. Not bad.
Absolutely natural.
Very natural. There is a natural level of radiation everywhere in the world. Below 0.30 is considered natural radiation pretty much anywhere in the world. Right now where we are, we're at 0.14 on the Geiger meter, which is that little yellow meter that tells how much radiation there is. That one right there. So that says 0.14. So that's relatively safe, and we're inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone. So this place was considered a clean part of the zone. Now I'll have a list of things that I want to put up. It's basically a list of what radiation there is in the world. Relative to Chernobyl, there are other things that are much higher on the radiation scale. So like flying in an airplane or doing a CAT scan or all these X-ray scans that are much higher than actually taking a torch to Chernobyl. Because I know there's a lot of people who are very skeptical of going to Chernobyl, and if there's radiation, and there is radiation, but relative to other things in the world that we're already exposed to, it isn't that high.
So it's time to go. Let's take this car. You paid for extreme tourism.
I did. Look at this car. So Igor was telling me that this was one of the biggest villages here. It had almost 3,000 people, and many of the other villages had about 100 to 200 people in them. This one had 3 grocery stores, so it was one of the biggest ones, or was the biggest one.
Well, you can see over there, it's a local community center.
Oh yeah, look at
We
that.
call them culture home, or home of culture.
That's a home of culture right there.
In 1959.
1959. Got the Soviet symbol.
Each Soviet single village had something like this. Like a big town had pelts of culture, small village or small town had house of culture.
Okay.
So that place was in use as a big auditorium, cinema theater, dancing hall, library. So, but the main idea to build such places, such thing in villages for propaganda.
Oh, okay.
So that is the place where our brain was washed by propaganda.
Right, right. Brainwashed by propaganda. Is there anything in this building?
Oh, it's empty because this building, after the accident, this building was in use as a barrack for soldiers. Because this village is considered as a very clean one, so this place was in use during decontamination and cleaning of the zone.
Okay, so it's a pretty clean village in terms of radiation. So that's just for the barracks for the soldiers. Wow, look at that. So this auditorium here was used for propaganda. They would have movies here, meetings, everything in this auditorium. Communism is the future for all people.
Oh, it's light future. Light future.
Okay.
Not dark future. Light future for all people.
Communism is light future for all people. That's what that says up there.
You know, it's propaganda, part of propaganda.
Yep. Wow.
Inside is quite empty.
Yep.
You know, the people from the villages were evacuated very slowly. They knew it's forever. They were allowed to take all personal belongings, furniture, everything what they could. Because compared to Pripyat town, people from Pripyat town were evacuated next day after explosion, because if they stay for 4 days in Pripyat town, all of them would die. It was possible to get fatal dose of radiation in Pripyat town just in 4 days. So that is why they evacuated immediately, and they were told, don't be worried, be happy, grab only very essential, you would be back in 3 days. But no one knew at that time it's forever. You know?
But all the surrounding villages, correct, were evacuated slower?
Yeah, so for people from this village who were evacuated 3rd of May. So it means in 7 days, in a week after. But imagine radiation here in this village in a week, in 7 days after meltdown was less than in Stockholm, its capital of Sweden.
Yeah, because the wind blew it, right?
Yep.
The wind blew all the radiation cloud north.
Everything was dependent on the wind direction. And the wind was blowing from Ukraine to northern and western Europe. So I cannot. Yeah, but you see, CCCP, it means USSR. But you will find such stuff in Pripyat a lot. You will be tired from such.
Yeah, there'll be a ton of that
Yeah.
in Pripyat.
I understand you are a little bit hungry, to see something like historical, old, from that time.
But there will be a ton more.
But yeah, you will have time more, and I'll show you lots of such things.
Awesome. So this house is pretty empty. We're gonna find much better stuff soon.
Clean moth.
So what he's doing is he's testing the radiation of different things. It's relatively clean at this part. I think everyone is a little more paranoid than they need to be of the exclusion zone.
Yeah, especially Ukrainian people, believe me.
So behind me you can see there is a building here and a building here, and that is a cinema, which actually is not used anymore. This is dormitories and basically a canteen, which is where all the workers here eat. So at Chernobyl town, It's a very active town for all the workers. I think there's about 2,000 workers who currently work here full-time, and they work on a schedule of either, or 70% of the workers work 4 days on and 3 days off, which means they will work Monday through Thursday, and then they'll have 3 days off, and then they'll come back on Monday. 30% of the workers work 15 days on and then 15 days off. And it's not actually because of the radiation, it's just because of the distance it is to drive here. Many of them would rather just stay here for a couple days in these dormitories and then drive home for the weekend, so they don't have to constantly drive here every single day. So that's why they have that.
We believe that this disaster, Chernobyl disaster, was predicted in Bible.
Okay.
If you read last Bible pages, so, and there are 7 angels. They tell us what's gonna be in the future. So, and the 3rd angel said, the star with name Wormwood will fall down from the sky as like a torch and poison big source of spring water. So remember, disaster happened in the springtime.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, will poison big source of spring water and big source of ground. Many people die, many people will suffer from it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read translation of Bible in Ukrainian language of this part of Ukraine, this angel says, the name of the star is Chernobyl.
Really?
Yep.
The meter's going up as we're driving past the nuclear power plant here in the back. That giant metal dome right there is going to be the new sarcophagus that they are going to slide over the 4th reactor. They were taught to use gas masks?
Yeah, it was Cold War time.
Oh.
The Soviet Union was prepared for the war very well.